Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again for a very important episode of the 247 Real Talk podcast. I'm getting closer to being back where I was in my previous studio in terms of my presentation. Obviously, it's different. It's a different studio, better sounding, better lighting. I'm still adjusting the lighting. So if I look a little shiny some places, I'll get it better if we're still here. I hope you had a great week, and I hope that you're enjoying the summer in New York. I hope that, let me turn my mic down a little bit, maybe that better. And I hope that all of this sunshine, even if we had some rain, has served you well and that you're doing well. If you hear any noise in the background, I'm still trying to figure out the AC in here, and right now I have it shut off and I have a fan because this is a sealed room. So with all the equipment, there's going to be heat, and I certainly don't want to sit here sweating as I talk to you. Welcome to all my listeners, all my loyal listeners, all my new listeners. All of you have been here with me from the beginning. Just let me get the obvious out the way. I continue to work through physical therapy on my knee. Today was my last session, not by choice. I have to have the second knee replaced in October, and the insurance company only pays for X amount of visits per year. So I had to do the math and stop my physical therapy, which is very much needed in order to have some physical therapy sessions once I return from the surgery in the next knee. So having said that, let's get into what, I don't know how long this episode will be, probably short, but I don't know. I've been thinking for some while, contemplating for some while where I go next with this podcast, where I go next with what I started as something that I thought would be amazing, but has turned out to be a challenge. And as things have changed, and as I'm trying to turn this fan off since it's making noise. And as things have changed, and since everything in our environment has changed, everything politically has changed, everything that motivated me has changed. And so I spent much of this week contemplating what next. This is a serious episode because I'm speaking from my heart, and at the end of it, I guess we'll both be at an understanding of where I am. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back. I'm still fiddling with controls here. They're no longer in front of me, they're to my side, and I don't have the muscle memory down yet. But we'll get there. Everything is a challenge. Maybe we'll get there. So let me stop all of the suspense with the maybes. During COVID, I believe it was 2020, when I started this podcast. When I looked around at the death and destruction, at the despair, when I recognized that so many people had lost their lives and mine had been spared, I felt the need to... I'm sorry, that fan is really hurting us more than it's helping us, right? I felt the need to, get involved and lift people, unite people, bring things that needed to be brought to the forefront so that conversations could be had and things would change. It was my real hope that things would change. And as it has turned out, I'm not sure at this point of the future of the podcast, where I go from here, how I motivate, what do I do in a climate that is designed to silence voices like mine. Especially when I have a family, I have kids here who born here, who have a future here, a family that I need to keep together, focus on, keep there, be the father and brother and husband and everyone's son and everyone in that family as a part of the glue and the tapestry that makes up a subpart of this great United States of America. You know, I was listening to a speech by Barack Obama, and something he said really stuck with me, and that was, what makes America great is not the money or the might or the military power. What makes America great is are the people that make up this great nation. The tapestry of all the people that come together to make up this great nation. So often we look at either side of ourselves and we recognize someone by a complexion or by an accent or by a look or by a dress or by their headwear or something that says, I am from somewhere else and I've made the journey here to be here. And I think what really was sort of put me in the place I am today, where I feel like it's a last straw, is I was paying attention to the big beautiful bill as President Trump has labeled it, as it went through the Senate and the House first and then the Senate. Now it's back to the House, and I looked at who was fighting for us. You have different needs. I have different needs. As we look at each other, everyone has different needs. Who is fighting for us? Who is the people that we elect, who walk around our states and come to our churches and our jobs and our stadiums and have these big speeches with the big bands telling us how much they're going to fight and what it means to them? Who are these people? I see a bill, or I heard parts of a bill, that decimates certain budgets for certain things that people of color, people of lesser means depend on. Now, we're not going to argue or debate whether they should or not, because if we have a feeling that they should be another way or there is another way, then there needs to be some process to move these people from one dependency into another form, all right, into another place, another ability to earn and to live and to have health insurance and to eat. People go through so many different circumstances and challenges in life that we couldn't list them. People have lost siblings. People have lost breadwinners. In COVID, there were whole households where the kids were left to raise the kids because the breadwinners are gone. And here we are, and if I'm not looking directly at the camera, please forgive me, I'm sort of deep in thoughts here. Where we are is there's a bill that's coming down that is not really geared for you and me, but it seems to be geared towards making things easier for the rich to become richer, to add into a deficit that taxpayers will end up footing the bill for, and at the same time cutting services to people. Now, I understand the terminology about making able-bodied people work and provide for themselves, but you've got to get them there. You've got to get people to that place. The whole effort for years has been to try to get people there. Education-wise, skill-wise. I don't hear those parts of a program that say, I am going to take you through this skill process. You need to be a willing participant, and at some point I will wean you from one source to the other to provide for your needs. But what was really, really visible to me was that here we have a bill that is submitted by Republican ideology, And the largest and the loudest voices fighting for their constituents were some Republicans. There were one or two Democrats, some of whom decided to read the entire bill, I say under the pretense of saying that so the American people could know what was in there. But let's be real. Nobody's going to sit through listening 16 hours of someone read a bill overnight. That's not practical. It's not sensible. It was a ploy to delay the vote, and I get it. But that's your fight. That's all you've got in me. And don't get me wrong, I have not seen the bill in its entirety. I have not read it in its entirety. I am not calling the ideology that's behind the bill flawed to any specifics, because I don't know. I do follow what people and experts and so-called experts say the impact of the bill will be. And if so-called experts are saying that, I am assuming that there are people of lesser means who have representatives in the House and the Senate that they have elected to fight for them. Where were these people during this bill? When you have Republican-controlled House and Senate and White House, and they put forward a bill, and the only people fighting against their bill are Republicans, that is a sad state of affairs for the Democrats we've elected. Either they're on board and they're lying to us, or all they're concerned about is getting their job, keeping their purse, keeping their money, or maybe they're undercover and actually don't like us and just continue to give us the food we need for brainwashing so we can continue to vote them in, knowing that people are so short, have such short memories, that they can offer hope the next time around, the next election. And once again, we're going to go, yeah, and vote for them, either because we believed in them or because we have no choice, because we believe in the right we have to vote for the lives that were lost to give us the right to vote. And we're going to exercise that right. And we look at the ballot and we've only got one choice in our minds. When I say our, I'm talking about us as Americans. To me, that this country is racing to a cliff, as President Obama put it. And once you fall off that cliff, getting back is a hard battle that can take just as long as we took to get to where we were before all the impacts and changes and the divisiveness of our nation. And in between all that, I'm sitting going, every single week, I go to different topics. At one time, I used to have a lot of guests. I don't do that anymore. I try to bring you my take on things, because a lot of times when you bring different guests on, there is a plus to that. But the negative is you have a lot of flavors of ideology that might not be in line with the show. And I find that sometimes I can spend more time debating them than giving you value. And where I am this week, looking at the threat to the democracy, what I call democracy, looking at the threat to me objecting to anything, looking at the cost, especially when week after week I seek people to join the fight, and I have the same set of people who come to me, who encourage me, who continue to join the fight, but that base is not growing. I have a lot of people subscribed. I've got downloads, well over 50,000 downloads. But communication, effort, acknowledgement, or not like, but information being fed back that the base is growing of people who, if we can't depend on our people we've elected, we will do something ourselves, because our lives are being impacted by choices made for us. Again, you've listened to all my 200, and this is probably the 259th episode, somewhere around there. I have stayed down the middle. I have praised the Democratic Party. I have praised the Republican Party. I've gone after the Democratic Party. I've gone after the Republican Party. I go after to situations and causes. I go after things that affect humanity. And in the midst of all that, I try to give hope and try to share my faith. And now I'm in a place where I am at a crossroads, deciding whether I will continue on this path whether I will change the direction of the 247 Real Talk podcast to be episodes each week that are inherently embedded in my faith, and be basically a podcast that seeks to uplift without going deep into the causes and going deep into activism. Or two more choices: take a hiatus and see where we're going, and if someone else will pick up the mantle and decide to join and actually have their voices heard, and actually decide that their little world, and all of our worlds might be big to us, but in the bigger picture of life and the world, they're little. People who are going to show that we love America, all colors, all creeds, all sexual orientations, all genders. We will embrace who we are, the tapestry, because we were created to be different by our Creator. Our country is changing before our eyes to a point where there's an effort to be a majority of one kind, when God didn't make us that way. Even within the base that wants to be similar, they're riddled with differences, because that's how we were created. My last option, but not necessarily the furthest option, is to come back one more time to make sure that I extend my sincere thanks to all of you who have joined this great ride and journey with me. And to leave 247 Real Talk Podcast where it is, to become a part of my legacy, and to stop right there. The end. I will make this decision as part of my conversations with my God. I will come back to you, and I will probably express to you before, if I have another episode, I will have another episode, either to say hello again, either to say we continue, or to say so long. But you will know my decision. I cannot necessarily tell you that I will follow the same cadence of an episode every week. So you'll just have to look out to see if I'll be here next Friday, if I'll be on hiatus, or I'll come back and continue. Whatever I decide, for those of you who have given me the energy when I'm tired, when I'm conflicted, when I've dealt with family issues and work during the day, and recognize that no matter how late it is, no matter how dark it is or cold it is outside, I have to get in front of this camera and leave part of me with you each week. I thank you. I humbly thank you. For those of you who have held the torch with me and have lit your own fires and have tried to make progress forward, I honor you. For those of you who have lent your ear to me in simple support, I am humbled by your support. For those of you who chose to ignore me, I'm also thankful for you. Because at some time or the other you listened, and there's hope for us all. Don't know what comes next, but whatever it is, I will let you know. I will do what I do, and that is seek the direction from my Creator, because I know who I am and whose I am. He always answers. My God is faithful. This show, 247 Real Talk Podcast, is a part of me. Is a part of me that was created within me, by me, because of who I am and whose I am. And whatever happens, whatever next step I make in this journey, it will be because of whose I am. To be continued. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.